Good evening and welcome everybody to round 2 of the AMF GTE Series Season 15 here on the AMF GTE Series channel. Tonight we're here, as I say, round 2 at Indianapolis Road, 45-minute sprint event, and we'll be running the season 2013 layout of Indy Road, which still encompasses the fantastic run through Turn 1 on the Super Speedway. Joining me in production tonight, Ryan Colstead. Ryan, welcome aboard, mate.
Well, thanks for having me, Dan. Good to be here. Looking forward to tonight's race. It's always throws up. We always have an interesting race here at Indianapolis, so yeah, really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. It's going to be another fantastic season. We've seen some great battles over the last few championship seasons, and no reason to expect this one won't be any different tonight. Some new changes for this one as well. We've got some brand new sponsors on board, and they are Sealed Batteries, Sydney Computers, and A Moment in Sim Photography, who'll be taking all the series photos for this event. As we touched on before, we're running the Indianapolis layout from 2013 tonight, so it's 4.07 kilometres, 2.5 miles for those keeping touch in the other denomination of distance. 13 turns tonight, which will be really challenging for these guys working their way through. And we're expecting some interesting runs for the guys down into Turn 1. How do you think the guys are going to manage with obviously some new setups coming out for this season and cars recently getting a bit of an upgrade from iRacing themselves?
Yeah, look, Turn 1's always interesting here in Indianapolis, especially on the rolling start too wide. We got a chance of safety car very early. Obviously that it's in the hands of the stewards and see what they call, but Turn 1 can be pretty dicey into 3 and 4 as well, 2 into 3, and then the big sweepers as well. So yeah, it could be pretty dicey opening lap. We've got a nice grid ready to rock, so the usual suspects up the front. So hopefully they keep themselves in check and we get a nice clean start.
Absolutely. I mean, and the rundown in Turn 1, it's very tight. Obviously, we've got pit entrance on there that the guys are going to have to keep an eye on. Later on in the course of the race, we do have the one mandatory pit stop for those guys to work their way through. But the rundown off the oval into the infield, it's a little bit of a tricky spot, especially as you crest through turns 3, 4 before you make your run down in towards the back section of the straight. We've got the guys just about to conclude warm-up before we go into the race proper. Really strong field of cars out there tonight. Nearly close to 50 cars out there, which is going to be fantastic to see as they work their way around.
Yeah, I think when we loaded the grid, it was 50 cars all up. 53 cars were loaded into the grid. Hopefully everybody makes it in and we can get a nice big full grid. Because this track only holds 53 cars, the stewards will be running the iRacing safety car tonight because we weren't able to put a safety car on the grid. So we'll see how that goes tonight, but yeah, look, fingers crossed we don't have a safety car and these guys have a good run to the end.
Absolutely, and I think it'll be, we've come to expect as the seasons have progressed, the driving standards definitely got vastly improved, and hopefully we won't see any of those big issues or events come out. Quick touch as one of the updates that have come out for this season as well. The cars have a new colour code on not only the number box, but we'll also be able to pick that up on the mirrors for these cars as well. So for our rookies, notice the red on the mirrors. Our amateurs will have orange. Our professional drivers will have green on their cars, and then our elite drivers will have the purple. So make it a little bit easier to distinguish these cars and classes out on track, not only for us, but also for the commentators, for the drivers as they go. As we have everyone taking to the field, we'll quickly run through the grid for here. Ross Rizzo off pole position with Tom Huggan alongside him. Nathan Harpinson start out of 3rd along with Tim Phoebe next to him. Trent Thomas, good qualifying for him, out of 5th position tonight with Dale Breed starting in 6th. Scott Forsyth and Jesse Butler will be 7th and 8th tonight with Joel...
We'll excuse you for trying to pronounce that one.
Starting out of the 8th position. Scott Newton actually getting a run this season, stepping away from broadcasting last season. So he's out there tonight starting in 10th position. Adrian Vlock, Scott Sislowski in 11th and 12th. Michael Spithill and Tyler Broad will be starting 13th and 14th. Lockhart Brownlee and Lee Vandenberg 15th and 16th respectively, along with Steve Jansen, Matt Morris, Stephen Cougar and Chris Keeping is at top 20. Below that, we've got a massive field as all the guys are now up on taking their starting positions.
They're still rolling through the field. They're massive field tonight.
Yeah, it's a huge event, and good to see. I mean, having a rolling start here, going to be very easy for these guys to get themselves up into. Not going to be any major issues coming down, but for the guys down at the back end of the field, trying to work your way through the snake of cars heading down into turn one, it's going to be incredibly tricky. So you're going to have all eyes forward, hoping that the guys manage to skate their way through without too much difficulty. Ryan, have we got any ideas on when we're likely to expect the guys coming into pits for their one and only stop tonight?
I think you can get a range of different strategies. Most guys are going to run the tanks empty, so they've got close to, I think there's 60 litres of fuel in these cars, so that's going to get them close to the 40-minute mark. There is a 65% fuel limit in the car, so pitting on lap 2 or 3, you're not going to make it home unless there's a big safety car. So I don't think we're going to see people pitting early. Even if there is a safety car, they won't make it home with the fuel cap in the tanks. So I would say we're going to see the pit windows probably from 25 minutes to 40 minutes into the race. I would say that's where they're more than likely been looking. Taking tyres is a surefire way to lose a race in this race. You won't be taking tyres at all. It's going to hurt your position way too much. So it'll just be in for fuel and then away they go.
Absolutely, and I mean, we've sort of seen that strategy play out quite a bit over the past few seasons, especially our front runners sort of leaving it as late as possible before they look to come down the lane, and we're expecting very similar traits for them. It'll be interesting to see for the guys further down the field whether they take the option to roll the dice, come in a little bit earlier, get that stop out of the way and see what they can do as the field cleanses itself naturally. But we're just about ready to take the start of this race. The field has formed up quite nicely behind the safety car, Rizzo, leading him through turn 13.
I'd say he's going to go straight away as soon as his safety car pulls away, because otherwise he's going to get monstered.
Absolutely, I would expect him to jump pretty quickly here, because if he does it too late, he's going to be stuffed.
Oh, he's jumped
right on cue. He has got away to a fantastic start. Gets back over to the racing line to defend that position. As we see Tom Huggin hold position. Tim Phoeben actually jumping a spot there over Nathan Huppert. That's a good move from him. The rest of the field filtering their way through in the back, 4 wide for some of the guys entering down the lane. We'll keep an eye to hopefully there's no damages as the guys work through. As you see, a little bit of an off track for Nathan Huppert's trying to get the car turned in there. Trent Thomas looking to see whether he can go through. And Lee Vandenberg, actually Tim Phoeben, has dropped it. He's going to fall a huge amount down the field here. We'll wait to see where he rejoins as everyone cycles their way through. A couple of other cars also going off in the background there. So pretty exciting start for all up front. A few notable issues for a few guys working their way through.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Tim Phoeben. Not sure what happened. Joel Kay's crashed out quite early on too. We'll go back and have a look at a replay to that once it settles down, and we'll see what happened to both Joel and Tim. But yeah, Ross Rizzo with the perfect start again.
He's become the master of being able to get these cars away nicely out the front, still retaining the Ford that we've seen him so successful in for the past 2 seasons as well. So that's got to be very comforting for him there to have a car that's working as well as it has done for him.
Yeah, look, the fact that he's already pulled out a 0.6 second of a gap is key at this track, because you want to have that nice gap. You look at the gap already closing down the front straight. So he's built up a nice lead there from Huggin already.
Yeah, he's really placed the car quite nicely there, and we'll sort of see that traditional strategy of Rizzo will just manage the fuel. He's very smooth on the car as he works his way through here, and we'll expect him to get very good life, not only from the tyres but also economy in the car as well. A couple of the notable positional changes that have happened in this first lap as well. Scott Cisłowski down 9 positions from where he started in the Trek Esports car, now currently down in 21st position. Lee Vandenberg, as we said earlier on, has dropped 12 spots, finds himself down in 28th position, so that was an extremely costly drop for him there. James Foster also lost a few positions there, and then Joel Che Guevara has dropped down to 39th position from his earlier issues as well, so that's put him well down in amongst some hot competition down in the backfield.
Yeah, we might actually have a look and see what happened to him there. Technical glitch. I've still got the LAEC logo there for the promoting our other series there for the replay.
The guys
It looks like he's just tipped it in.
Yeah, it didn't look like there was any contact in the back end there. Has to sit there and wait for all the field to cycle through. That hurt him a huge amount, waiting for those guys to get through. But he is now back underway. As we turn our attention up, Scott Newton gained a couple of spots off the grid as well, now up into 8th position, and almost going to have a move there on Dale Britt, who made a very awkward run through turn 1 there. And Scott's going to have to be careful because he's got Tyson Broad from CMR Esports right on his tail here. Nice to see what he's able to do with this car, but good to see him out there having a run. And we saw in the Christmas Cup last time, or for the start of last season, taking the Porsche out, switching to the BMW, and actually gets a helping hand around. I think that's Tyler trying to make a move down the inside. We'll see how that one unfolds.
Yeah, we'll see what race control think of that one.
Yeah, let's see how that one goes. There's Tom Huggin now starting to fall off just a fraction in the in this lap here. His the gap to Ross Rizzo is extended out to 0.8 of a second at the moment, but we'll wait to see what comes. And obviously we know how strong the draft is going to be around here, so we should expect that time to close down. But interesting already, Ross Rizzo purple sector 2 for this lap, and Nathan Huppets with a purple 3rd sector last time by. So Nathan really moving along in the BMW. Actually changed a car for Nathan this season, coming from the C8 in season 14.
Yeah, I think he's always been a BMW driver from very, very early on in this series, and clearly a lot more comfortable in the BMW, and done a couple of seasons in the Corvette and decided that it's time to change back. But yeah, interesting to see how he goes this season.
Absolutely. I mean, I got out and did a few testing laps earlier on last week just to get an idea of how the cars felt, and surprisingly the C8 felt exceptionally good on the tyres. Maybe not the quickest car out there, but very consistent. The BMW, again, as always, that longer wheelbase makes it a very formidable car out there nonetheless. The Porsche was the big unknown. It was a little bit sketchy in the rear end, whether that's driving style or not. It was a little bit tough to get the most out of, but I think as what we're seeing at the moment, Steve Curtis, quickest driver currently in that Porsche, down in 12th position, which is very different to what we saw last season.
Yeah, very. The Porsche was incredibly fast last season, and this season iRacing have made a slight change to it, and it's slowed it up a little bit. As you can see here on Jake's car, we've got our driver classes actually on our cars as well, so their side mirrors and their numbered plates, and on the rear bumper is actually denoting what class the driver is in, whether it be amateur, pro, rookie or elite class. So as we go through the season, you'll see different colour codes on each car, and that's what they are, that's what they denote.
And it makes it really easy for now, having something like that makes it very easy for the viewers to get an idea of where these guys are. So like Pete Manette, for instance, with the red on the car, which based off the iRacing points accumulated, so he's in the rookie class, there is a 1700 I rating. Doesn't mean he's a slow driver by any stretch of the imagination. He's doing a fantastic job out there at the moment. And when you look at the guy behind him, Matt Bailey, who's running the pro livery for the number blocks with the green, so between 2200 and 3000, he's able to keep pace with him. And I think having the ability to get this and for the drivers out there to see who they're up against is really good measuring stick for these guys out there as we have a look at the time that both Manette and Bailey have been able to do, and Bailey looking very strong here for a move at the end of the back straight.
Yeah, it's a difficult place to go around the outside. You've got to really trust the driver on the inside. They're going to give you the room, which he has done, and that's fantastic driving there from both drivers. They're going to go side by side through this section as well.
Oh, and just sticking the nose in there as well. Kobe Laszlo thought he was in for a shot there, and just pulled it up in time to not see any rotation. And Scott Newton now, after that spin that we saw from him, has joined onto the back of this fight. So that's down in 20th position at the moment. So it's all on for young and old down here.
Yeah, most definitely. So Lucas has been handed a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. So stop and go penalty. So he'll have to come into the bay, stop in his bay, take no service whatsoever, and then continue on his way. So he will still have to serve his mandatory pit. He must have passed some cars on the start-finish line, which is against our rules.
Yeah, and he's already in a hotly contested battle there. He's got Jacob Marr right on his background, and we just caught a glimpse there. He's locked the rears on the run in there and rotated around. So not only has he got the penalty serve, he's also self-penalised in a way with that spin. So he's not going from bad to worse.
He's just come back on and had a big one.
Card. That's not what he wanted for a night there. We'll see whether he gets that car back around, but it's a tough break out there for Lucas at the moment.
Yeah, a bit rough there for him, unfortunately.
Looks like he will be able to rejoin well down the back of the field there. So it's gone sort of bad to worse for him. Trent Thomas up on screen at the moment, having another good solid run out there. Gained the one spot early on with the rotation from Lee there. Finds himself in 4th position at the moment. Got a nice bit of gap over Dale Britt, just in behind in the Ford. And he's setting some pretty comfortable times. Not the quickest car out there at the moment. He's about, or last time by was a second and a half, or just on a second slower than his teammate Ross Rizzo out the front of the race at the moment, but setting some quite consistent times. And for Trent, he's looking to pick up those points early on. He's been very good at doing that throughout the course of this season.
Yeah, look, Trent's always been very consistent in AMF from the start. I think he's been with us since season 2, I believe, maybe even late season 1. He's always been there or thereabouts up the top. He was multiple series winner when we were just the GT3 series. I think he still holds the record for the most consecutive wins on Sunday nights with 11. So, yeah, Trent's always going to be there or thereabouts up the top. But his teammate Ross Rizzo's definitely the yardstick nowadays at the moment.
Absolutely. Also, we're just seeing Nathan Huppets has gone around just before they make their way up to the super speedway there. Not sure what's taken effect in that one. Might see if we can pull up a replay. But I was also going to make note too, while we were just having a chat about Trent, Ross Rizzo and Tom Huggin are just about to close in on the back of our lead lap cars now. So here's a look at what unfolded for this incident, and see if we can find what happened. He's not there, so I don't know whether just self-dropped it or not, or actually he's still stuck on the side of the track, I believe.
He's actually, I think he's towed to the pits.
You are correct, yes he has, and that's going to put him well down and make it a very tough night for him again. He'll just want to try and mitigate whatever he can and score some points there.
Unless he's been given the okay from race control, that will actually be the end of his night if he's towed to the pits without permission. So
absolutely. And actually, looks like there's some more damage on the front of that car as well that we didn't get a chance to see. So yeah, he's going to be in some big trouble there. And unfortunately, as I say, not probably going to be able to get out for another lap tonight. Bit disappointing start for his championship there, no doubt. As Ross now working his way in and around lap traffic.
I think I've found
through. A little bit of the Nathan Huppets incident.
Yeah, right.
So actually, car stationary on the circuit there. And,
yep.
Speed Huppets coming through. Not a lot he could do to avoid that one.
No, unfortunately. But look, these things do happen in racing. Whether or not that car was in the wrong place at the wrong time or he was coming back onto track illegally remains to what the stewards decide. I think I've got some footage of that here.
Yeah, okay, so Jason Hay, the car involved in that one,
yes,
around and not paying attention to the guys coming through.
No.
So not a use of the relatives there, and that car launched.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate for Huppets, just the wrong place at the wrong time and a driver doing the wrong thing. The stewards will obviously throw the book at him for doing the wrong thing there.
Yeah, absolutely, and taking out a very quick contending car in the top of the standings as a result of that one. Quick look at the track overlay at the moment. You can see a little bit of a gap now for Ross Rizzo and Tom Huggin before they close up to the next group of cars, but they've already put a lap on up to 40th position at the moment. So 41st position, Peter Morris in the Fishy Motorsports car, already a lap down, and that only took 9 laps before we were into that traffic as well, so the guys are motoring along.
Yeah, look, normally in this series we do have 2 splits, and there is a big gap from the leaders in the top split to the tail end of the second split. So having them all in the one split, you are going to see a few of the tail enders, they will get lapped a bit here. Oh, as we see someone going wide there. And probably not the best track entry there either. But seems to be, oh no, Michael set a spin from it.
Yeah, actually Spittle, did he collect the Ferrari there as well, or the Ford, sorry, not sure whether those two made contact in the end there, but...
I think that was Matt Morris there.
Yeah, Spittle just falling further back. Here's a look at the replay there. So Spittle's already had the moment, and Morris just going around, actually losing the back end all on his own there. It was the C8 working its way through. I think that was Matt Bailey just shuffling himself through in that incident, so good job from him there. Spittle now, as he's come back into the fray, he's got Chris Keeping right in behind. We have a look back at this car just to see how he's working his way through, just about to close up onto the infield, or out of the infield up onto the 6 speedway. Good recovery from him. Those tyres going to be hurting just a fraction. And we see that they are struggling a little bit more now with the update, or the most recent update to iRacing. It really does knock the tyres about with these lockups.
Yeah, it really does. It's all about the heat. So our Stig, so our in-house setup builder, he's been telling me that it's all about the heat. If you can keep the heat out of the tyres, you'll do okay. But if you get too much heat in your tyres, then you're going to lose grip very, very quickly.
Yeah, that's a bit of a tricky thing to try and avoid, because it is very easy to lock a brake in. These cars know ABS on them as you come into big braking zones here. So driver management very critical, trying to keep those tyres underneath them. Trent Thomas now inherits another position after the spin from Nathan Huppert, finds himself in third, so on the podium step. Good drive for him, but Dale Breed still holding on to the back of him in the forward there. Jesse Butler actually is surprisingly closed up into this fight as well. There's only just over a second between these three cars as they circulate around the track at the moment.
Yeah, and it's good to see we've got 3 manufacturers in the top 3 at the moment. We've got the Ford, followed by the Ferrari, followed by BMW. So we've got a very good showing in the different manufacturers. So credit to the Stig there for the setups. So clearly they're quite even. We've got 2 Chevys in the top 10 as well. And just outside of the top 10 we've got 2 Porsches as well. But we all know the Porsche is struggling a little bit from the tweak that iRacing made just recently.
Yeah, I think it has hurt that car a lot, and for the guys that are running it, earlier, Steve Curtis still the leading Porsche out there. They're doing a hell of a job to get that through, much in the same way last season we saw the Ferrari didn't get a lot of run. It was a very tricky car to get your head around and drive, but Tom Hagen now picked it up, adapted to it quite comfortably, and finds himself in a stellar 7th position, and really not that far off the top of the lead. No,
he's not, and look, Tom's been threatening this series for quite a few seasons now. He's on his day, he's up there with the best of them, so hopefully he can get his head around this Ferrari nicely and quickly and take the fight to Rizzo for the season.
Absolutely. I think last time we were here we saw him do a stellar job in, I think it was in the Ford at that time. Had a fantastic drive with XRC Racing, and recently made the switch to Mach 1 and continue on having a good steer in this car, as we see Scott Forsyth now in the lane.
Viewers will probably notice that some of the cars don't have our decal overlays, and that's because the drivers haven't uploaded their driver paints yet. So we'll get all of that sorted by the next broadcast, and that way everybody will have their class overlays on their paints.
Yeah, and that will look really good, especially all the time and effort that a lot of these guys put into getting deliveries as good as they are. I mean, they look absolutely spectacular, or they did look spectacular last season. Obviously, the new change with the decals got to be sorted, but really looking forward to seeing these guys. We see a battle down into turn 1 here. James Foster gets the move there completed on Pete Manette, and he'll now set off after Scott Newton, who's 3 seconds up the road from him. And just in behind, Jason Bentz looking menacing here as well in the Ford, looking to see whether he can climb past on Manette as they work their way through up towards the hairpin and the back straight. And Manette, though, with a little bit of a bobble, that's going to hurt him. And he's going to have to go very hard to try and retain this spot.
Yeah, he's got the inside line into here, but I don't know if he'll be able to hold the Ford down this straight. He's gotten a bit wiggly on the exit there, and the Ford's gotten a fantastic run. So, but he does have the outside line. He's managed to hold him off, which is very well done from him.
And Ben's a pretty accomplished driver in his own right as well. He's not going to just throw one up the inside either. He'll look for a nice clean move and seal the deal where he can. And you can already see he's really starting to force Foster onto that alternate line there, and that's only going to compromise the exit speed as well. So Benz, if he can just keep applying that pressure, he should have this move completed very easy. But this will also help the run down off turn 13 off the oval.
I was going to say the Ford has been very, very slippery, and again nice and slippery down in a straight line compared to the Ferrari, and you would think it would pretty much be a done deal into turn 1, which it is.
Yeah, great pass there from Benz to climb another spot. That will promote him now up into 20th position, and he will set his sights forward. Again, Lockhart Brownlee having another good drive. 4 spots gained so far in the race. He's got Steve Curtis, the Porsche driver, just up ahead for Aries Motorsport. Not too far ahead of these. Actually, it's a couple of the Aries cars together with Steve and Jake very close together out on circuit there. And Lockhart doing a really good job. The pace consistency very, very good. He's only 6/10 slower than his best lap that he turned earlier on in the event, and should be able to close up to this. And as we saw just before from Jason Benz, should have the benefit of that slipstream down the front straight.
Yeah, the Ford is very, very fast in the slipstream, and the Porsche is not as strong this season, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of gains he can make down this front straight.
It's a great look off the nose here. You can see the Ferrari, the Porsche just ahead, swapping positions. I think that Ferrari is a lap down to these guys.
Oh, so very deep under brakes.
Pulls that move up nicely.
I think that's one of those moves where 2 drivers need to be very aware of what's going on, and Pete Minott did a fantastic job. He saw what was happening, and he just left the steering open a little bit longer and left the door open for Lockhart to go through.
Absolutely, and with a lot of these guys probably coming off the Sebring 12 Air, we know there was quite a few incidents with some quicker guys getting through, so a lot of guys just paying a little bit more attention to what's going on around them and avoiding those incidents where possible. And for the guys that are lapped down, they're really being respectful out here tonight, keeping an eye on the blue flags that goes through and just allowing the quicker cars to come through and continue those battles without too much untoward. Back up front, Del Brig still holding on to position here with Trent Thomas. They go for another lap. Not a lot separating these 2 cars. The BMW managing to hold it off here, but this could be the chance here for Dale down the front straight. Trent going a little defensive, already parks the car in the middle of circuit, and Dale with a fantastic run here should be able to get this move done down into turn 1. Trent not making it easy for him.
No, very, very strong under the brakes there, Trent.
Side by side through 2. Dale still hanging in there. He should be able to get this move completed.
You've got Jesse Butler's coming to become a menace too.
Absolutely. Butler doing a great job. And in the space of a couple of corners there, Trent dropping 2 spots to fall in behind these. So Butler and Britt on a bit of a charge at the moment.
I think Butler was just in the right place and just pounced then. He saw Trent and Brett go a little bit wide and thought, well, if I can get down the inside here, I can make this stick, and he did exactly that.
Yeah, he's done it's a very opportunistic move there to try and do that, and good awareness from all the guys around just to see that potentially was on the cards, and just enough racing room to let that one unfold as it did. They're going to work their way up onto Super Speedway again. This should be a good chance for Dale to try and extend a little bit of a margin here. We'll see whether Butler is able to do so. Actually, it'll be easy for Butler as Britt drives into the lanes. And just a quick recap on the guys that have come through the lane. We're expecting around a 10-second stationary pit stop time for these guys. So very short stop. Obviously, as we touched on earlier on, just a little bit of fuel going into these cars so far. They'll get back underway.
That Corvette's looking a little bit worse for wear. They're missing the whole front end of the car.
Yeah, very second hand at the moment, but just letting the the lead lap guys go through. Out front is Ross Rizzo, still with a handy 3-second margin over Tom Huggin. Those two have really checked out now. They've got a 14, well, actually from Tom Huggin back to Jesse Butler, it's a 14 or 13.5 second advantage at the moment. Trent Thomas right in the back, and watch this pedal for third position. Trent is really starting to apply the pressure again. He wants to come back and get on that podium.
Yeah, look, Trent's the ultimate competitor, and he does not like giving up positions. And I think he'll make this very, very difficult for Jesse, and he'll fill Jesse's mirrors. And it'll be good to see what he can do, and whether or not he's going to go for the pit stop early, or if he's going to try and run long and play the long game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think they're coming up to almost pit stop territory if you consider where they're going to get to distance-wise on the car. We have seen a few guys push it out past that 25 minutes barrier in previous seasons here, as we ride on board here with Trent Thomas down into one. He's got it up on the limiter.
Oh, very, very late in the brakes. Very late.
Fantastic part.
Probably too late. Though. Butler's, yeah, he's probably too deep, and Butler's came back on him. Great defensive driving there from Butler.
Absolutely, Butler did a really good job. Just parked the car on the racing line and allowed Trent just to overstep the mark just a fraction, but no contact from either of those two, which was great to see. And this fight still continuing on as we head through now lap 18. We're already 25 minutes into it, just over halfway of this sprint event, and it's already been pretty entertaining so far. Quite a few incidents early on in lap 1, and already a lot of cars a lap down at least. First driver 1 lap down at the moment. Richie Domingo down in 43rd position. Keep an eye here on this battle. Trent just hovering around the...
Just as you say it, keep an eye on the battle, and I've found somebody that's had a bit of a moment, so I thought we'd go and have a look.
Have a look at
That's
Thomas there.
Very interesting moment there from Thomas Foster. Not quite sure what he was doing there.
No, a little bit of a weird one. It looked like a little bit of a jink in the brakes as he initially went in, because the car sort of pirouetted a bit in towards the fence there. But the Coastal Sports driver having a bit of a tough night out there, and I think he might have actually exited stage left, because he is well down the order. Actually, I think he might have got that car back underway, but long way down the order as a result. And we see Trent Thomas now in the lane for his pit stop tonight. Keep an eye on where he filters back out, because he was right on the tail of Butler as they concluded that lap there.
Something different I wanted to show everybody was the strength of field. So we try to separate our drivers based on their I rating. So if you look at the classes up the top there, our average I rating for our elite drivers is 3.4 thousand. Our rookies are 1,500, our pros are about 2,300, and our amateurs are 1,800. So we've tried to space our drivers out in their classes, so you end up racing people in your own class, and you end up having something to race for, which is kind of fun.
Absolutely, it's really really shaken up the class. Obviously, we know we've got pit stops cycling through at the moment, but have a look on the side of the timing tower. Tyson Broad, currently tagged as a rookie, he's having a very strong run up in that 4th position. 10 spots gained for him over the course of the event so far, and we'll look to see where he can cycle his way through. He's still yet to complete that 1 pit stop now, as Jesse Butler is also in the lane trying to cover off the move there from Trent Thomas.
You can also see the lap time differences. So there's not much of a difference between your elites and your pros. We're only talking 0.4 of a second around this track. And the rookies and the amateurs, to be expected. Actually, the rookie time from Tyson Broad's quite fast. He may actually be in the wrong class, and that's something as admins we'll look at, and we want to make the drivers fighting the people that they should be fighting all the time. So that's something we'll look into as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think Tyson has had a really strong drive. I think his quickest lap out there so far, a 1:22.05. So not the quickest car. He's kind of around that spot where we would expect him to be for his class, but driving exceptionally well. with the 11 spots up so far. We saw Trent Thomas there trying to work through a little bit of lap traffic there. So he was having a fight there with Jacob Maher, who yet to come in and have his stop for Coda Sim Sports team, but that's down in 13th position. And any incidents that Trent finds himself in at the moment could compromise that otherwise third position that he was having with Jesse Butler. A very awkwardly placed Corvette just on the entry to pit lane there. Not sure which car that was, as Tyson had to navigate his way around on the run into the lane there. Might see if we can find out who that car is, but not where you'd expect one of the C8s to be. It actually looks like he's got that car moving now, coming into the lane. Back up front, Ross Rizzo has climbed further in towards the back of the midfield now. He's got Matt Bailey and Tim Phoeben, who we haven't spoken a lot about Tim Phoeben following that earlier incident, just a little further up the road from these guys. So Ross doing a stellar job here. Still yet to come down the lane, 21 laps into this event, and he has opened up now quite a healthy lead over Tom Huggan. The gap 4.5 seconds, and just saying that, Tom now drops into the lane to complete his pit stop, as Ross still cycling his way through these lap cars and doing it pretty easily at the moment. He's picked them up at a good spot down in towards turn 1 here. Should be able to clear Tim just ahead.
Yeah, all the pit stops slowly cycling through.
Yeah, Steve Jansen, the other car to drop in, along with Tom Huggan. So just looking at those times between Trent and Jesse, there's about a second advantage there to Trent Thomas going through the lane. He was a little bit quicker than Jesse, so maybe just able to save a little bit of fuel, or he's slightly underfueled that, hoping that he will be able to get that car home in a good spot. Grant Matterford up on screen at the moment now, in 17th position. Good solid run for him. He's gained 11 spots so far. Obviously a little bit of that is due to the pit stop cycling through, but it's been very clean and consistent for him out there. Last time by a 2:24. We'll wait to see what he's able to set as he crosses the line now. It was a 1:24.4, so he's sticking pretty close with his average pace there, and putting together a very good run for himself. Scott Sislowski now up in second position, still yet to come down the lane, as we saw Ross Rizzo had dived in as well to complete his stop. Sislowski having another good run, 10 spots gained for him so far, just working his way through turn 12 up onto the speedway. Actually, he's going to dive into the lane as well, so everyone else probably now hit that time where pit stops need to be completed for all of these guys. Tom Huggan is just coming around, about to duck into turn 13. Ross Rizzo down and away, or actually just in the lane still, 8 seconds, 9 seconds down and away now. We'll wait to see where these two come out as they cycle through, but Rizzo should hold a pretty comfortable lead just looking down the track map. And yeah, he's maintained a pretty healthy advantage.
Yeah, there's Huggan coming through now, so yeah, it's down to, it's 5 second gap still, so I think Rizzo will, barring a horrible night, I think this is his race to win. Car 190's been given a drive-through penalty for an unsafe track entry on lap 18.
That's Peter Morris behind the wheel of that car, the Fisher Motorsports entry. So he'll have a stop and hold, not what you want, especially in this late phase of the race. Ross Rizzo, though, being held up a little bit by Lockhart Brownlee as they work their way through. So you can have a look at this re-entry.
He's stuck in a really awkward spot.
Yeah, it's tough trying to work your way back in there, but I'd prefer to be cautious of the guys around and As a result, he's got that drive-through penalty now. Actually, sorry, stop and hold penalty. So he'll come in, serve that. And
Mustn't have been that entry there, because I didn't really see much of an issue there. Anyway, the stewards know what they're doing.
Yep, and the word of the stewarding is final. We're not going to delve too much into that because they do a fantastic job behind the scenes.
Yes, having been a steward for most of this series life, past 14 seasons, it's a very, very tough job sometimes, and it sometimes can be pretty thankless. So yeah, I know exactly what the stewards are going through, and we've prided ourselves in AMF of always making sure we calling a spade and calling everything down the line within the rule book. So yeah, some people may not like it sometimes, but at the end of the day, we believe we get it right most of the time. This battle with Trent Thomas and Jesse Butler's still going. It looks like they're going to go to the end like this.
Absolutely. I don't think there's going to be too much between these guys as they continue this outstanding fight on. They've got a little bit of a margin, only 2 seconds over Dale Bridge, so if anything does happen, Bridge could potentially find himself up in this scrap for third position as well. But just quickly touching back to the stewards on the back end, I mean, the rule book is very comprehensive for all the drivers to get an idea of how this unfolds and what they can and can't do along the way. So it's really great to see a series providing as much detail, not only from a stewarding perspective, but also driver standards. And I think as a result of that, you see the car going off. That's Dale Brid having a moment.
Yeah, he's had a moment into turn one.
It really has set up a fantastic series. And for anyone looking to join, please jump into the AMF Discord. You also check them out on Facebook and come and have a run. It's a fantastic series. Quite a few events now that AMF are putting on, not only this fantastic series on Saturday night, you've also got the GT3s on a Wednesday and the Endurance Championship as well, once a month every Saturday.
Yeah, we've expanded, so we've got our Monday night series as well, Wednesday nights in the GT3 cars, GTE Sunday night like this, and then once a month we do run a full Enduro multi-class series. So if anyone's interested, they can come to our website, our Facebook or our Discord and see what we're all about.
Absolutely, and judging by obviously from what we've seen, not only in past seasons, but also the driving stands tonight, now that the race has sort of got underway and everyone's managing to find some good space out there, some fantastic driving standards. We're watching this battle heat up to third, down the front straight, a little bit of a touch from both guys as they work their way down. Trent, we'll see whether he can get this move done. He almost had it done about 5 laps ago, just overshot the run into turn one. See whether he's able just to keep Jesse high and dry on the outside, and he does. He crosses that move and climbs himself now back up into third position. So good little fight between those guys. Yeah,
look, Trent clearly learnt his lesson from the last time he tried that move and made sure he didn't go too deep under brakes and locked off any chance of Jesse going for the switchback there, which, luckily enough he made it through the last time with no incident and was able to try it again and learnt from his previous mistake. But by the looks of Jesse's not going to let him go without a fight. Jesse's going to stick with him. So these guys are in for a great battle for the rest of the race.
Absolutely, and they've got a nice little bit of clear track just ahead of them too. There is a few cars further up that we're seeing our leaders negotiate their way through, so potentially we might see some outside interference from a few of those cars, but I don't think they'll present too much of a drama. But this is one of the best battles out there on circuit at the moment. Dale Brid also in a fantastic scrap at the moment for 6th position. We might quickly duck back to that one if we can as well. I think he's got Scott Seslowski behind, actually, so he's on the back of Steve Jansen, Seslowski a little further back, and then Tyler Broad closing in on Seslowski. He has a little flash of the lights trying to negotiate a few cars coming through as well. Down off turn 13, it's another one of the Curtis Sports Porsches there by the looks, just stepping to the side and letting this fight continue on. We'll see what Tyson's able to do down in towards turn one. I think he's a little far to send one down for an attacking move, just holds the racing line, but this is another good little scrap.
Yeah, I think we've got some errors in our thing. Tyson Broad's actually an amateur driver. You can tell by the orange tags on his car. So we've got him down as a rookie on our timing tree, but he is actually an amateur driver. So well, I was going to say bit more reflective of his class in the position he's in. So I thought it was strange that he was a rookie and he was that far up. We're generally pretty on top of it with the driver classes, but yeah, he's having a fantastic race, and to be pressuring Kozlowski as much as he is, he clearly knows how to drive a car.
Absolutely. I mean, and Scott in his own right, not a slow driver by any stretch of the imagination either. So this is a fantastic little scrap. We've still got about 7.5 minutes left on the clock for these guys, so no doubt going to see a few more exchanges go through. And we'll keep an eye on that one. Scotty Newton having another strong run out there at the moment as well. He's got Lockhart Brownlee in behind, and I mean, we've already seen how quick those forwards are down the front straight. Scott's going to have to work very hard here to try and keep Brownlee behind, as we see on the timing sheet below. You see Brownlee's taken a few tenths out of him. Scott had a bit of a moment there on lap 26 a couple of laps ago that really closed this gap up. So Scott's going to have to knuckle down and get on with it here, but a good drive for the Apex Racing Team driver. And Kobe Laszlo and James Foster now in a good little scrap down off the main straight. See whether Kobe's able to retain this. He's driven him very wide. Foster comes back to the racing line. Should be able to carry a little bit more speed than Laszlo there.
He runs the risk of
placement.
Yeah, he's ridden that curve pretty heavy. He does run the risk of getting a slowdown from iRacing for running that curb so heavy. So it'd be interesting to see if he did get one or not.
Yeah, it looks like well, if he hasn't shown any need to slow down for it yet, so it might have been right on the ragged edge of collecting one of them. But this is a stellar scrap. It's only 0.3 of a second between these guys. They work their way up onto the back straight just ahead. Tim Phoeben, actually 4 seconds up the road. We've got a lap car just ahead of these guys. As you see Tim Phoeben now recovering after that earlier spin. He's got Michael Spithill just ahead, who again also has had his own unfortunate run tonight. Recovering from the spin we saw very early on in the race. And these guys fighting over that 15th position. And, not a lot separating them either on the time in scoring. Actually, Tim Phoeben, half a second quicker last time by, so definitely closing some time down. Guys, check over the start-finish line here. Spithill just got a little bit of an advantage. Actually managed to take a little bit of time out of Tim Phoeben on that lap, 0.2 back in his favour there. So a good drive from him. But 5 minutes now on the clock. These guys will surely see this margin continue to shrink down.
I think no matter what, I'm going to keep coming back to this battle. This battle between these two guys is fantastic.
Yeah, it's been a really strong fight here. You just see how much Butler monstering the curbs, trying to pick up that little bit extra speed advantage there to close up as they work their way now up onto the super speedway, heading in towards turn 1 here. So look back, it's a little bit of a slight run out there for Butler, but he's now closing right in. You see Trent park the car down the inside. He's brought it back to the racing line here, but Butler, nice side draft here, and he should be able to get this move done. Not a lot of room left between either of these two as they fire down into turn 1 here.
Butler's gone in very, very deep. And he's
contact.
turned him.
Butler just made a little bit of a mistake there, run it high up on the curb on the outside, catches the inside there of Trent Thomas, and that's dropped Thomas now out of that podium position.
Yeah, Trent's had pretty ordinary luck the last couple of seasons.
So we ride on, keep an eye on this one. So Butler makes a little bit of a meal of turn 1, gets up over the curb there on the outside, and I think actually got the car airborne a fraction as well, which lost him some grip there, and then Trent gets rotated as a result of that one. So falls well down the field.
But Jesse has redressed the position already.
Yes, he has. So Jesse just getting back underway. Wait to see what race control still have to say about that one, but that one has been sort of self-adjudicated. That now will promote Steve Jensen up into the 3rd position. So again, continuing the run of different manufacturers in the top 4 different manufacturers out there. Rizzo leading the way in the Ford. Tom Hagen doing a fantastic job in the Ferrari in 2nd. Steve Jensen now in the C8 up in 3rd. And Kozlowski now finds himself up in 4th position in the BMW.
I do feel sorry. It's not often you feel sorry for a driver coming in second, but poor Tom Huggins had a pretty lonely old race here. Big gap between him and Rizzo, and then a big gap for the rest of the field behind. So it's more just hitting his markers and hitting his apexes and just making sure he's smooth and consistent, and just to bring it home.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit tricky too for these guys. Also, think of where you potentially have the ability to run up on slower cars as well. That will hinder your time differential as well. But at the same point, both drivers have to go through that lap traffic, and it's a little bit of ebb and flow, much like we saw in the opening AEC event. There was a lot of ebb and flow with the guys cycling through the quicker and slower cars. So probably a little bit exaggerated tonight with that field, but yeah, Tom Huggin done an outstanding job to work the Ferrari through, and actually also seeing now Tyler Broad has managed to jump himself up to 4th position as Trent Thomas now closes back in.
You've got Dale Bredd here in a bit of a trick BMW sandwich, so it'll be interesting to see whether the trick boys can do a bit of team play and get themselves a 5 and 6, or if Dale will be able to spoil the party and get them both.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dale's in the quickest car of the 3 out there, and we've seen how fast the BMW is. Everyone going down to the inside pit wall there to try and hold off the advantage and force them out wide, but Dale just holding position there. Sosowski closes right in behind. So a great look as the guys work their way through 1 up into 2 and go to the slightly off camber turn 3 here. And Dale just finding position. Sosowski getting racing behind these guys, thinks about a slightly more acute angle to see whether he can get that move completed, but not quite close enough in the BMW there.
Yeah, Dale left the door open a little bit there, and Scott had a bit of a look and then thought better of it. These cars do seem very evenly matched, especially down the straight. No cars seem to really get advantage over the others, so it is going to come down to driver ability between these 3 guys, I'd say.
Absolutely. Sosowski massively monstering the back of Britt under the brakes there off the back straight there, closes that gap down to nothing. I think it might have been just a slight little contact as they work their way in through the infield little hairpin left-right section there, and get back up onto the speedway. You can see the grip that the Ford's got. It's able to pull a nice little bit of a margin now that extends to just on 0.3 of a second, but again, onto the front straight. We'll wait to see how this goes as the guys will come across the line. We'll have one more lap this time by for them to see what they're able to do with these cars. But again, right down on the pit wall, trying to defend this position. Will we see Sosowski try the late move? Not quite close enough, but he does bring the car over. And Brigg makes a bit of a meal of it. Snatches the brake on the inside, and Sosowski around the outside at 2. That's a great move.
Yeah, Sosowski was just waiting for the mistake and completely and utterly pounced them. Dale is coming back though, but he's definitely on the wrong side of the track for this section of the track.
Yeah, a little bit tough for him to try and return. We've got a few cars ahead that have gone off circuit, hopefully not going to impede in this battle, and good job for those guys just staying to the outside of the circuit for this one. But now Brigg's going to have to try and get creative here. He needs to get the flow as we turn our attention back up front. Ross Rizzo will come across the line and take the race win. Tom Huggin comes across in 2nd position. Steve Jansen works his way up onto the super speedway, and we'll see him come home hopefully in 3rd position. Trent Thomas, after the spin there with Jesse Butler, will should be able to bring this car home back in 5th position. That's a good strong recovery for him following that rotation as well.
Yeah, look, it's a pity he misses out on the podium that he well deserved with that battle with Butler, and knowing Jesse will be kicking himself for making that move the way it happened. But this is racing and these things happen. I'm sure race control will probably look at it, and Jesse Butler will probably still find himself getting some form of post-race penalty as well for that move, taking the podium away from Trent. But regardless, it was still a fantastic battle from those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they put on a stellar job or battle for the vast majority of that race there. There was not a lot separating either of them. And it was only that little unforced error that Jesse had going into turn 1 that saw that contact being made. But other than that, they were almost inseparable the entire event.
Yeah, they were. They were they were having an absolutely fantastic battle.
I think we've got, should have just about all the cars now have come across the line, so let's see where we can pull up the final finishing positions, and we'll run through the results as they are there. I don't think we've got too much left. Ross Rizzo will, as we said, come across the line. He takes first position, followed by Tom Huggan. Steve Jansen in third. Tyson Broad brings the CMR car home in fourth, with Trent Thomas coming home 5, Scott Sosowski in 6th. Dale Brid gets home in 7th position, followed by Jesse Butler in 8th. Scott Forsyth comes home in the 9th position. Good, strong drive from him there. Lee Vandenberg will get home in 10th, with Michael Barron coming home in the 11th position. Chris Keeping 12th. Todd George in 13th tonight. Michael Spithill gets back after the earlier spin that he had. Will find 14th position home for him. James Foster in 15th. Kobe Laszlo gets home in 16th tonight. Scott Newton, a little bit of a tough run for him, home in 17th. Matt Morris 18th. Matt Bailey 19th position. Lockhart Brownlee with a good drive to get home in the 20th spot there. Lee Coogan down in 21st position for him. Jacob Mara in 23rd. Actually, so Tim Phoeben, 21st position, so missed him. Apologies for that one. Greg Sharp home in 24th. Pete Manette down in 25th. Greg Matterford 26th tonight. Chris Barnes and Brad Kling 28th position. And we're now well into our lap down cars there, as we see Bretton Bull, a lap down 29th, Michael Schroeder home in 30th position, Greg Coulin in 31st, Adrian Vlock, not a great run for him unfortunately, down in 32nd position, Cam Walker, Craig Mason, Shane Griffin, Lucas Milcalf, Trenton Kosh, Thomas Foster, and John Paquette. Richie Domingo down 3 laps tonight, unfortunate for him there. James Thomas down in 40th position. Jake Furkage in 42nd. Pete Morris, Jason Vance, Craig Ellis, Lucas Gucci, Aidan Cootie, and Joseph Ruka down in 48th. And those guys now in our DNF finishes. We'll wait to see whether we get any of our podium positions come up for a chat, but while we wait for those guys, we will quickly again thank the series sponsors who have been fantastic in coming on board this set. And we have Seal Batteries, naming right sponsor for the championship coming in, and fantastic to have those guys on board for all your battery needs. Seal Batteries. Sydney Computers helping out as well for your computer needs and hardware. Check Sydney Computers out, and for this series as well, a moment in sim photography for all the race photography that these guys will be putting up. Be sure to check out the Discord channel for their fantastic photos at the conclusion of this event.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race. Not as messy as I thought it might be. The drivers did very, very well tonight and maintained a very good one. And we're just going to have a chat with Tom Huggan here. Hey Tom, congratulations on second place tonight.
Hey, thank you guys. Yeah, it was a great race. Try to give Ross a bit of a run for his money, but didn't quite work out.
Tom Ross has been fantastic for the last couple of seasons, and I think you pushed him pretty well tonight considering how the seasons have gone. But how did you find your race anyway?
Yeah, it started off really well. Then about 20 minutes into the race, the tyres started dropping off and Ross was slowly getting away. But yeah, it was a clean race for both of us, I think, and got a bit of traffic at the end, but I don't think that would have mattered too much.
Yep, fair enough. Before you leave us, was there anybody you wanted to thank for your race tonight?
Just want to thank all the guys at Mac 1 Esports. They've been really great, just pushing each other every week. And also like to thank Race Circuit Art Australia. And thank you guys for putting on a great broadcast, as always.
No worries, Tom. Congratulations on your second place.
Thank you.
And home first tonight, race winner and reigning champion, Ross Rizzo. Congratulations, Ross. Fantastic drive for yourself and the Trick Esports team tonight out there. How was the event from your point of view?
For the first 15 minutes, it was super intense and just an awesome battle with Tom, just struggling to break the draft and get away. But then the last 30 minutes was just chaos with the huge field and working the way through back markers who were battling. It was a bit nuts and felt a bit like, want of a better term, bit of a Russian roulette of the kind of traffic that you got. And I think a few guys got tripped up, which was a real shame. So that's changed up the podium and the top 5 and top 10 for sure. So luckily for me, though, it looked like it was fairly straightforward. The traffic was really good for me. And shocked with some of the Nathan got disqualified. Phoeben ended up nearly a lap down straight away. I don't know what happened. It was just a shame not to see the guys, the normal candidates up the front, that we usually see week on week.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there. One thing I do want to touch on with you, but we saw for a lot of the event, after about lap 9, you found yourself working your way through the back markers on the field. How did you find that? Was there any big incidents or scares that you saw coming through, or a lot of guys just respecting the blue flags and allowing you rather safe passage on the way through?
Yeah, most of the guys were really respectful. Some guys were able to even, kind of suspend their battle for position for a little while as they let me through. And I think there was only one scary moment with 2 cars coming together in front of me that was easy enough to avoid. So thanks very much to those guys. But I think there were a few others that had much less happy stories navigating that traffic.
Yeah, definitely. And next week we go from one super speedway off to another, off to Daytona Road. Good circuit around there. What are your thoughts on that one? We know that Slipstream is going to be huge as the guys work their way from the bus stop down around towards turn 1 there. How do you think the Ford's going to handle that one?
Well, the Ford was an absolute beast there last season. Unfortunately, I won't be making it, which will be my first missed race in 3-4 seasons maybe. So disappointed to break the streak, but Easter being up and coming, So wishing everyone it's going to be a good race, and hopefully the broadcast goes off without a hitch. And just got to ask, are you guys going to be taking the helm of the broadcast from here on out?
Yeah, we are. We've decided to take over the broadcast within the AMF team, so broadcast will come via AMF from now on. So we're going to be. We're still looking for another commentator to join us, but at the moment, we're going to take over.
That's cool. So good luck with the broadcast next week, and double duties with stewarding. I think there's going to be a long evening for you guys, though, looking at some of the nonsense that occurred.
There is, but one of the good things with me jumping into the broadcast now, Rizzo, is I've actually handed over the reins completely to Alexander Bird. He's taken over the lead steward role for the AMF GTE Series. So Alex is in full control of all the decisions and all the stewards for GTE from now on, and I think it's testament to all the people that have jumped in and helped me over the seasons that it allows me to jump out and do something different. So a big thanks there to Alex for taking over there.
And also, before we let you go, mates, and get ready, I'm sure you're probably getting away for the Easter weekend. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out and a thanks to?
Well, first of all, to you guys for taking up the reins for the broadcast. I think that's an awesome initiative. And to obviously you guys for running the series as well. And to Trick Esports, Trick Custom Fabrications, and Pro Sim Gear, and looking forward to greater attendance. I think we have a bit of a clash with the Sebring 12-hour and Scops, so hopefully bigger fields next week.
Absolutely, mate. Well, all the best. Enjoy your Easter, mate, and definitely look forward to seeing you back out on the grid for Monza on the 11th. So enjoy that, and all the best until then.
All right, cheers, boys, and have a good holiday.
And that was Ross Rizzo, race winner for effective round 1 of the season 15 event. Ryan, great field turnout tonight, as you say, 51 cars taking to the field tonight. It's a huge field for the guys navigating their way around Indianapolis. And we saw some fantastic racing up and down throughout the field tonight.
Yeah, we did. We saw some great racing. This track doesn't get used very often for GT cars, and it's a shame because it does create fantastic racing. It's a short lap. There's plenty of drafting opportunities, and there's plenty of places where you can put a pass on because lots of wide open corners, lots of flowing chicanes where you can really get a run on somebody. So it's a very underutilised track, and I'm glad we had it on the schedule for tonight. It showed us some great racing, especially the battle between Trent Thomas and Jesse Butler. Unfortunate they came together, but their battle was fantastic, and there was some great other battles down through Dale Bredd and Sislowski and Thomas at the end there. That was a fantastic battle as well. But really looking forward to Daytona next week. Daytona always throws up fantastic battles. Again, the drafting keeps the field nice and close, so yeah, very much looking forward to Daytona.
Absolutely. I mean, Daytona's a fantastic circuit. A lot of these guys, while a different build on iRacing earlier at the start of the year, probably took part in the 24-hour. It will be interesting to see how the guys adapt to the new cars on the super speedway. And again, as you say, Daytona, while looking like a very simple circuit on paper, presents a huge amount of challenge for these guys, especially to run down off the speedway down into turn 1, trying to not only get as tight as you can to the apex, but avoid the wall on pit entry, or the pit entry wall, and still maintain a huge amount of speed. So it's going to be fantastic to see how the guys go to that one. Will be a night event as well, so should see some great liveries. And for all the guys that haven't had a chance yet to upload the paints, please be sure to do so, and we'd love to see the cars out there. Again, thank you to the sponsors for helping this one out: Seal Batteries, Sydney Computers, and A Moment in Sim Photography. Thank you to everyone who tuned in on the YouTube channel. Great to have you on board for this one, and we'll say good night and look forward to seeing you for the next event at Daytona Speedway. Until then, good night.